Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy, Scotty Smooth, and I woke up this morning. We have a huge freaking Elden Ring patch. Crazy patch 1.03, and a lot of things are nerfed, a lot of crazy weapon OP metas, a lot of quality of life changes. So like there's actually a lot of stuff going in with this patch. I don't remember the size of this patch, but it's actually a pretty freaking big one. So we're gonna jump into the patch notes, of course, talk about kind of the main things with the changes and what you guys can expect going forward with Elden Ring. So we're gonna jump right in. Of course, all the platforms are gonna get this patch, every single platform that Elden Ring is on, obviously. So the first part we're going to jump into is going to be the major changes with the elements added, or kind of like the quality of life changes. So one kind of big one is that I've noticed was really cool is adding the function to record an icon of an NPC in the map. So like if you are trying to remember where an NPC is, where maybe like a merchant is or something like that, then you'll be able to record that on the map when you do encounter the NPC. So really like that, really cool feature added there. They added a new NPC, Jar Bayarn. I know in some of the videos I've already checked out, like people don't really know what this person's gonna do yet. Obviously, I haven't played it. You guys might have already played it and have came across this NPC and probably know a little bit more about it. I don't know yet, but when I do get into the game and of course play it, I'll let you guys know what the heck that is, or who the heck that is. They added new quest phases for the following NPCs, so you guys could check that out. Some more summonable NPCs in situations. I know that they were kind of lacking, I guess, in some areas where NPCs weren't summoning or weren't there, so I think that's going to change here with that. The increased number of patterns of objects players can imitate using Mimic's Veil, and then added night background music in some open areas. So a little bit of quality of life changes. I do really like the NPC tracking on the map. Obviously, we all know Elden Ring map is absolutely freaking insane, so being able to remember where the NPC is can kind of be a pain, kind of be difficult, so that's going to be really cool there. Now, some of the bug fixes, kind of one of the bigger parts of this update, because there are some bugs that have just been kind of a pain in the ass. I know some people haven't gotten like the rune from Godric, or there's a couple other things that were just bugged where you just don't get the loot from the enemies after defeating them. So I think that's a fix, but we'll get to that. But first, fixed a bug preventing summon NPCs from taking damage in boss battles. I guess I don't want to cover all this because you guys can kind of see it on the screen here. You don't need to hear me reading through them. So we'll just talk a little bit about the more important ones, the ones that really stand out to me, because of course some bug fixes I mean, they're going to happen, but a lot of us may not have came across these particular bugs. But you guys could see it here. I'll also put a link to the description to the patch notes. If you do want to go check that out, go read that, feel free. But we're going to talk just about the more important ones here. Fixed a bug that prevented players from obtaining the item after the boss battle. For example, Godric the Grafted, and you don't get the rune after you kill them. So that's definitely a huge fix, because I know that that's frustrated a lot of people from kind of continuing on. Arcane scaling, it fixed that bug. That's also another really good one. Sometimes it just didn't scale with the weapons correctly, so that's definitely a really good one. I know some players have brought up. I haven't really seen it in my playthrough. I don't really use like that type of build. However, I think that's definitely going to be beneficial for a lot of those that do. This is a really good one here with the talisman pouches. I know that when you do hit a certain level, like if you don't talk to this person, I don't really know the exact details, but it's like the girl at the round table that gives you the weapons for like the boss souls, kind of by the 2 fingers. If you don't talk to her right after you kill Godfrey's clone, like the yellow shade, if you don't talk to her right away after that, then you actually miss out on a pouch. So that's definitely something really cool that now we can have if we did miss that. Because the game, we all know, doesn't tell you what you need to do when you need to do it. I mean, it kind of does, but you know what I mean. Another bug that is definitely going to be important is some of these weapons that have incorrect scaling. I've noticed some weapons, not in my playthrough, but I'm just watching other streamers, other players go through the game, and them mentioning when you like max up your level, it actually makes your weapon weaker, or it takes away from that damage, which is crazy to even think of. Doesn't make sense. Obviously a bug in the game, obviously something that was not intended, so that is going to be huge. it makes sense. You know, you're upgrading your weapons. You want to keep it going and increases the strength. Makes sense. And it kind of goes hand in hand with this one. The weapon's not using the stat scaling. So, obviously, that's going to be important. Oh, man. For my speedrunners, for my just wannabe OP players in Elden Ring, this is a big one here. Ash of War. Now, I know a lot of players have used the Ash of War, pretty much put it on a weapon and are carrying it. Let's say, for example, it's in their left hand. They have Ash of War. If you activate it, it actually works for your right-handed weapon as well. That does not have that skill, so you can wipe out bosses in like 2 or 3 hits by using that method. So that's going to be fixed. Unfortunately, those that just want to do insane damage and blow through the game, that's going to be a big hit. It's going to take a hit to that, so you won't be able to do that with Ash of War. I'm sure we'll come up with some other ways to go about that, but Ash of War, no mas, adios, sayonara. And then here's just a couple other ones. Again, you guys could check this one out if you wanted to. Performance improvements, text fixes, incorrect stats on armors. So really nothing like that I've seen significant in my gameplay. But of course, if you guys have noticed something like that, those are fixed. So anyway, the balance changes. Now this is the meat of the patch notes, the big stuff. So this is going to be really cool. Increased drop rate of smithing stones for enemies. No smithing stones and sombering smithing stones. Like, they take a minute to get, and you pretty much have like a one-stop shop to get them. Like, if there's a smithing stone, like 8, located in just some crazy part of the map, it's only there. You can't pick it up a second time and kind of farm that. So if you guys are farming smithing stones, this is definitely going to be helping out with that. Kind of same thing, adding more smithing stones to early game shop lineup like that. Increasing shields effectiveness. That's pretty solid. Increasing the damage for all offensive cracked pot items. There's some damage increases for a couple items, and then, of course, increase effect for some of these items as well. Now, I don't really use those items, but if you guys do, good on ya. You have increased duration for these, and then increased damage for those items. And then also increased HP healing for Torrent when using the other following items there. So pretty sick there if you guys are using that. I feel like my playthrough has been pretty linear. I haven't really explored the other options yet. I'm only like 50 hours into this game, maybe 60, which is still a shit ton, but with Elden Ring, it's like 10 minutes of real time because people have already put like frickin', I don't know, 500 hours in this game, but still trying to get used to all that stuff, so haven't really used too much of that. Reduced FP consumption, increased damage for following sorceries, so for my mages or sorcerers, there you go. Congrats, you got increased damage with these. Decreased FP with these following sorceries as well, quite a bit listed there. So again, a pretty good buff to kind of those arcane, those mage builds. I think will definitely are going to benefit from this patch a lot, so that's awesome. Now the raised projectile speed and range of the Great Glintstone Shard, huge change, because I know some players have mentioned that the Glintstone Pebble actually is a lot better because you can actually throw it farther, has better range. So this is going to be a huge change. Again, haven't really used it too much, but I'm sure that's going to change quite a bit. Now this is going to be a bummer for the speedrunners of Elden Ring and some of those that just want to kind of cruise through the gameplay. Now, the Ash of War, of course, we talked a little bit about earlier, but the Hoarfrost Stomps damage. Hoarfrost Stomp. You guys know that one. If you don't, you pretty much just stomp the ground and then the frost freaking spikes come up and it just absolutely wipes out enemies, wipes out bosses like that. I've seen some dude go through, I mean, the speedrunners use this method, so that's going to change. It's going to be decrease the damage and then increase the cast time, so you can't just kind of blow through that. I think it's a good change. Of course, those that want to have more of a smooth like playthrough of Elden Ring or just kind of run through it, it's going to suck for you, but Elden Ring obviously is not meant for that kind of gameplay. It's meant to grind through it, and die a lot, not really cruise through. So I think that's a good change. Definitely was pretty OP. So good change on him. And then also the increased Ash of War, Bloody Slash's self-inflict damage. I didn't know Bloody Slash had a self-inflict damage. I feel like I've used it and haven't noticed it. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe that's why that's why it's supposed to have it, but it just doesn't. So they increased that, and then also lowered the damage and increased casting time for that. Another crazy one that's changing, decreased weapon skill of the Sword and Night Flames damage. Now this does not increase like the actual attack, like your light and heavy attack, but the weapon skill or like the magic attack, whatever you want to call it, that's decreased, whether that's the freaking flame that shoots out from the sword or the laser beam. I think they're both in that pool where they're decreased, because that obviously was just super OP as well. And again, another good fix to kind of balance that game out. I like that. I like that fix. So that just makes my Moonville build a lot more OP, a lot better, which I will get a video out for that soon, so guys, keep your eyes open for that. More things with Ash of War. Ash of War has been like a freaking huge thing, huh? Increased FP consumption and lowering duration, and then changing the FP consumption timing. So you guys could check that out. That is relevant to you. Now the decreased damage spirit summoned when using item Mimic Tier Ash, and changes spirit's pattern behavior. So the damage is going to be decreased. We all know that the Mimic tier is probably the best spirit you can summon. I know like the Black Knife Tish is going to be OP from here on out. I know that was like kind of that was almost neck and neck with the Mimic tier, so it seems like now after they made a nerf to the Mimic tier that the Black Knife is going to be top dog. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference or not. I haven't played it yet, but I do use the Black Knife Tish as my spirit summon, so I'm okay with that. But again, a lot of you players have put a lot of upgrades into the Mimic tier, a lot of stuff like that, and they did nerf that a little bit. And then just other enemy and weapon balance changes. Okay, cool. So those were kind of the big changes, and a lot of changes, a lot of nerfs, a lot of buffs going on. The first patch of Elden Ring, and of course, covered really the big ones, the Ash of War nerf, the Sword of Night and Flames nerf, some just quality of life changes. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot for the best. Obviously, a lot of players might be upset because speedrunning is going to be a lot more difficult. Blowing through the game is going to be a lot more difficult, but as you guys know, this game's not meant for that, so that it checks out. All right, but anyway, guys, I hope this helps you out. Of course, if you enjoy the video, if you enjoy the Elden Ring content, be sure to sub to the channel, hit the thumbs up. I'm going to be posting a lot more Elden Ring videos, from builds to boss fights, stuff like that. I know I've only posted a few so far, just because I'm trying to get my feet rolling with this game, but expect a lot more coming up. So anyway, guys, appreciate you for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.